Have a seat and grab yourself a coffee, Digimon fans, because there is so much to break down from the latest 2 episodes of the 2020 Digimon Adventure reboot. Cutting right to the chase, because there's no way to dance around this, the new show has officially introduced a new form or mode that bridges the gap between Ultimate and Mega level Digimon. We have officially seen 2 new forms for main character partner Digimon, Metal Greymon Alteros mode and the flying WereGarurumon Sagittarius mode this week. But the question on everyone's mind, will the other Chosen Children's Digimon be getting Ultimate upgrades? If you're new to this channel, first off, welcome, and if you like the video, consider subscribing for new lore in the world of Digimon and weekly reviews of the new series. We have contests here quite often. In fact, we just gave away a free copy of Digimon Cyber Sleuth on Switch, so be sure to subscribe to catch the next contest. We're 22 episodes into the new reboot of the Digimon show you fell in love with in 1999, and if one thing's clear, the show is not a beat-for-beat recreation of the 99 series with updated animation. Take last week for instance. The Digidestined team you know and love is split up with Tai, Matt, and TK, Taichi, Yamato, and Takeru in the digital world, infiltrating the new Devimon's castle in order to take back the stolen Digi-Egg containing Angemon. Last week, Tai and Matt's Digimon faced off against a miasma-spewing monster of a Mon that got the upper hand on Metal Greymon and punctured his non-metal arm with its teeth, infecting Metal Greymon with a dark purple discoloration in his arm. Shortly after, Metal Greymon seemingly embraced or absorbed the dark miasma in his arm and transformed his right arm into a lance-style rail cannon. It didn't receive a name in the show, but the Japanese Twitter account for Digimon is calling this new ultimate form Metal Greymon Alteros mode. This week, the kids got even farther into the castle and faced off against the ever-imposing Skull Knightmon. Once again, our heroes were having a hard time, particularly once Skull Knightmon digivolved into Dark Knightmon. WereGarurumon was pierced by shadowy dark arrows from Dark Knightmon and pinned against a wall. It was pretty violent, but after seeing Matt and TK in peril at the bottom of a miasma pit, WereGarurumon absorbed the shadow arrows that impaled him and, using that energy, sprouted mechanical wings. He took on a form that the Japanese Twitter account for Digimon has proclaimed WereGarurumon Sagittarius mode. This form is next level and has to be a dream come true for lifelong WereGarurumon fans. The new wings allow him to fly at breakneck speed, getting around Dark Knightmon to grab Matt, TK, and the Digitama Digi-Egg in a flash. As if that wasn't cool enough, WereGarurumon plucks 2 of his roughly 6 wings from his back and uses them as dual blades to match Dark Knightmon's weapon-based combat style. So, if your hype level for the new show is not at this point at an 11 out of 10, allow me to explain to you all the reasons why it should be based on these new forms. 1. Dark Digimon / antibody virus inspired. These new forms clearly have an origin in dark energy, and the idea of hero Digimon embracing the dark energy is pretty compelling. Metal Greymon's arm became infected from a miasma bite, while WereGarurumon's new form was triggered when he absorbed a dark arrow right into him. Will these Digimon's decisions to embrace the darkness backfire in future episodes? Will it result in something like Skull Greymon or Black War Greymon? The show likes to play fast and loose with how and why Digimon from past series can reappear in this show, so anything is possible. There's also the X-antibody virus type factor of it all. This is an element of Digimon that has not been in the mainline anime before, but in some of the games there is this thing called X-antibody that creates alternate forms of certain Digimon. There's Metal Greymon Virus X and WereGarurumon X, and there are even more that I'll get to soon. But the point is, the similarity between the X-antibody types and these new forms is really striking. The wings and the rail cannon are right from these X-antibody mons. Number 2, new forms for all main Digimon. Just moments ago, I alluded to there being even more X-antibody versions of main character Digimon. Take for instance, there's Lilymon X that follows the same rules and origin as the X-Digimon mentioned above. So the big question, which we'll probably know for sure in the next couple of episodes, is are all the kids' partner Digimons getting this new form between Ultimate and Mega? Episode 5 of this show confirmed that we'll see Mega versions of all the Chosen Children's Digimon later down the road, so granting each of them a form in between would still keep the surprise and magic alive. Just like when you were a kid and had never seen Metal Greymon until his debut episode, that's kind of what it felt like last week when we saw Alteros mode. So if the show decided to keep doing that for each of the main mons, it would be, again, a total game changer. But will it happen? So the argument for it is that X-antibody versions of these Digimon, the things the new versions are based off of, they do exist and could be adapted. There's also this line Koshiro says last week during the Digimon Encyclopedia segment where, when explaining Metal Greymon Alteros mode, he said something like, "I wonder if Kabuterimon is hiding something too." We also can't forget a small detail from this week, that the Digitama Digi-Egg containing what will become Angemon, it did touch the dark miasma for a moment there before TK could fish it out of the pit. Is this enough to create a lingering effect where when the time comes for Angemon or Holy Angemon to debut, he'll have some kind of dark alternative form like Alteros or Sagittarius? The argument against the other kids getting new forms is, well, 1. This week, Koshiro, when explaining WereGarurumon, also said this joke about maybe he needs a vest to upgrade his fashion sense, so unless WereGarurumon suddenly gets a leather vest, I think we should factor in that something things Koshira says in the encyclopedia segment are just meant to be jokes, and maybe not actually foreshadowing. The other reason it might just be Tai and Matt's Digimon getting Alteros and Sagittarius mode is simply because of Tai and Matt getting preferential treatment since 1999. In the original show, they were the only two with Megas. Now that everyone is getting Megas, are they going to be the only two with X antibody type? They are, after all, the only two in the new series who get that fancy animation sequence, so we do know that the new showrunners do value Matt and Tai with maybe some higher regard. Again, the next couple of weeks should inform us if others are getting the X antibody mod treatment. Lilymon was teased for next week's Digimon Encyclopedia segment, so that could imply she has a larger role to play in next week's episode, and this could be a make or break moment for us. Finally, the third biggest question based off of these new forms: does alternative ultimates mean alternative megas? Namely, I'm thinking about Victory Greymon and Zeed Garurumon here. These alternative takes on War Greymon and Metal Garurumon originate in the world of Digimon games, and diehard fans have been loyal to these designs for years. Seeing them brought into the canon of Digimon Adventure would be incredible. Since we've already seen the silhouettes of the megas we know and love, plus we've seen Omegamon in action, if the show wanted a late series surprise, Victory Greymon and Zeed Garurumon could be the way to go. That's all we can safely discuss about the new types without spinning too far out into wild theory territory. Other episode highlights for me from episode 22 of course include the bravery Takeru exhibited in saving the Digitama. I was really not expecting TK to be so independent. I also loved Gabumon / WereGarurumon sort of taking Takeru under his wing as his second human partner until the day his egg hatches. The family bond dynamic was super sweet, and it made WereGarurumon feel like an older brother to both of the siblings. We also got our first fully colored look at Devimon, not hiding in shadows, and it seems that next week is our big showdown. I'm wondering, will the Alteros and Sagittarius modes reactivate? How do they reactivate, or are they going to be one and done scenarios? Will that darkness that both Metal Greymon and WereGarurumon absorbed, will it play a role in the next battle? I'm looking forward to finding out and talking about it with all of you this time next week. So thanks for watching, and like I said, we will talk next week.